Pastor James Huang, who served as a missionary in China, is now working in Maryland where he researches Korean mission history. Each week, we're bringing you a story from his book series, Remember and Repay, 52-Week Mission Meditations. Today, we're diving into the mission history story for the second week of March.
All right, let's jump right in. This whole story really kicks off with this one incredible quote. A young boy named McCune said these words, and believe it or not, they ended up changing not just his life, but the entire future of education in Korea. Seriously.
So you're probably wondering, who was this incredibly dedicated kid? Well, let's go back to the very beginning.
Paik was born way back in 1895. He started out studying the Chinese classics in a traditional school, but then he switched over to a Christian mission school to get a more modern education. But man, his early life was just hit by tragedy after tragedy. He lost both of his parents, becoming an orphan. And right around that same time, his entire country lost its independence. Just imagine that.
So, to make ends meet and pay for his schooling, he started working at the home of his principal, an American missionary named McCune. And one day, McCune gave him a pretty simple job to do. Hey, go chop some firewood. And then he headed out for the day.
Okay, get this. McCune doesn't get back home until late, like 10 p.m. And as he's walking up, he can still hear this sound, the sound of an axe chopping wood. He goes to the backyard and he's just stunned. There's Paik still going at it. When McCune asks him why he's still working so late, Paik gives that amazing answer we started with. Well, you never told me when to stop. In that moment, McCune realized this wasn't just a hardworking kid. This was a young man of incredible, unshakable integrity. He was so moved that he made a promise right then and there that would completely change everything.
But, you see, before McCune could even begin to make good on that promise, Paik's entire world was about to be turned upside down.
The world as he knew it was literally falling apart. First, in 1910, Japan annexes Korea. Then, just a year later, this thing called the 105 Men Incident happens. It was a totally made-up assassination plot, but it was used as an excuse to arrest a whole bunch of Christian and nationalist leaders. And guess what? Park's school was right in the crosshairs. Teachers and students started getting arrested, and Park knew it was only a matter of time before they came for him. So, the moment he graduated, he had to become a fugitive and flee his own homeland.
So think about this for a second. His journey to higher education didn't start in a classroom. It started with him on the run. But even in exile, his incredible, relentless pursuit of knowledge was just getting started.
His journey took him across continents. First, he landed in China, studying English and the Bible at an institute run by British missionaries. After 3 years, he finally made his way to the United States. And where did he go? To Park College, which was, you guessed it, missionary McCune's old school. But he didn't stop there. He then went on to Princeton Theological Seminary, the University of Pennsylvania, and finally, he landed at Yale to begin his doctorate.
This whole journey, this incredible academic marathon, took 14 long years. But it all led to a single historic moment in this year, 1927.
In 1927, Paik made history. He became the very first Korean person to ever earn a PhD from Yale University, an absolutely monumental achievement. And what did he write his dissertation on? He wrote about the one thing that had completely shaped his path, Protestant missions in Korea. He literally wrote the book on it.
And it wasn't just about getting the degree. His mind, his brilliance just left everyone in awe. His own advisor at Yale, a really famous professor named Latourette, said this to him. Just think about that. It's the ultimate fulfillment of that potential missionary McCune saw all those years ago, standing by that pile of firewood.
So, he's achieved this incredible academic milestone. Now what? Well, he goes home, and that's where the next chapter of his legacy begins.
So, with that Yale PhD in hand, Dr. Paik returns to Korea. He gets a job teaching at a place called Yonhee College. And this place, well, it would become the absolute center of his life's work.
After Korea was finally liberated, Dr. Paik was instrumental in transforming Yonhee College into something much bigger. He helped merge it with Severance Medical College, and together they became the institution that today is known as Yonsei University, one of the absolute top universities in all of Korea.
He became the very first president of this new Yonsei University, but his work for his country was far from over. I mean, talk about a tough job. He was appointed Minister of Education in May of 1950, literally right before the Korean War broke out. What a critical role to have in that moment of crisis. His public service didn't stop there.
He went on to serve as the president of the House of Councilors and even, for a short time, acted as the president of South Korea during a really chaotic political period. His political career only ended because of the military coup in 1961.
This brings us to our final section. When you look back at this incredible life, what's the big takeaway? What does it all mean?
It's this. Dr. Paik dedicated his entire life to building his nation from the ground up, and his tool was education. But the fuel, the guiding principle behind everything, was that same deep faith and unwavering integrity we saw in him as just a young boy.
I mean, his journey is just astounding, right? From a poor, orphaned kid doing a simple chore, he becomes a university president and a national leader. It's a perfect example of how powerful character and good mentorship can be. And it really shows how one person's rock-solid principles can literally become the foundation for institutions that shape an entire nation. And the story has this perfect poetic ending. He passed away in 1985 at Severance Hospital, the very medical center that was part of the university he helped build. His life of service truly came full circle.
And that's what Dr. Paik's story really leaves us with, right? This powerful, thought-provoking question. Everything, his entire incredible legacy, started with one small, simple task, chopping firewood. But it was done with absolute, unquestioning faithfulness. It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? How can our own seemingly small acts of integrity, when they're guided by a real sense of purpose, have the power to not just change one life, but maybe, just maybe, to help build a nation?